I think we're all excited for 2020 to be over and for 2021 to be so much better. Regardless of what 2021 brings, though, I want to share why decluttering our lives will be the best decision that we could make for ourselves and share a few ways that you can declutter certain areas of your life. Oftentimes, when we think of decluttering, we think about stuff. So we think about decluttering our closet, decluttering our homes, decluttering our car, and things like that. But when we declutter our lives, we really open up the possibilities to do so much more. One of the biggest reasons why we find ourselves unhappy in life is because we have cluttered it with so many things that don't bring us joy. Whether that is saying yes to things that we don't really want to do, or bringing things into our home that we don't really love, or the way that we spend our day and spend our time. These all have a huge role in the way that we feel and the way that we carry ourselves in life. Firstly, if you want to see an immediate change in your life right now, start by saying no to things you do not want to do or are not passionate about doing. So often we don't want to disappoint others, and we say yes, even if it literally drains us, it takes away our time and energy to do things that we actually want to do. Our nature is to not disappoint. And so at our own expense, we will say yes and clutter our day with things that we don't want to do at all. And why is that? Just because we don't want to disappoint others, we want to make ourselves miserable? There was a time in my life where I would literally say yes to anything that I was asked. I felt like I needed to be there for people, and it was rude or unheard of to say no to things, even if it was for a good cause, but it's not something that I wanted to do. And I would do this at the expense of myself and the expense of my family. I would literally shift things around to make it possible to show up for others, and I wouldn't be able to show up for myself or for my wife or for my kids. And the only one who suffered was me. So I found myself so exhausted and unhappy because 90% of the things that I was asked to do, I did not want to do it. And so if you really want to see an immediate result and find more time to do the things that you love and enjoy, start by decluttering the time by saying no to people and to things that you don't want to do. All right, this next one is kind of scary, but I'm going to say it. Decluttering relationships. Yep, there are relationships that sap the energy out of us and drain us constantly. If anything, they don't serve us at all, and we hold on to them for reasons that we don't even know. And I'm telling you, it is absolutely necessary to declutter those relationships. I'm sure already a few people have come to mind that you have done this with or need to do this with. And I'm not saying you need to go and call them and say, hey, being around you just makes me unhappy. I need to declutter you out of my life. That's not what I'm saying. There are ways to do this without kind of being obvious and hurting the other person's feelings. Now, maybe you're asking yourself, well, what if all of my relationships do this to me? Does that mean I need to be a loner and unhappy? Absolutely not. You just need to look at those relationships and find ways to distance yourself. But more importantly, finding people that do the exact opposite is so much more important. Finding people that at the end of a phone call or at the end of a coffee, you feel uplifted, you feel cared for, you feel heard. That is the type of relationship that you want to make space for. And when you have more relationships like that, then you don't feel that clutter and suffocation that can oftentimes be felt whenever you have relationships that take from you only. So that's one way to really think about decluttering your relationships, is look at the people that you really love being around and fill you up, and find more of those people. This is for all of us busy beavers that like to get stuff done at the expense of ourselves. Declutter your schedule, declutter your to-do list, declutter busyness. There isn't an award for people who never have time for themselves, are constantly exhausted, and are completely miserable with what they're doing every day. I used to think that there was, and all I got on the other end was unhappiness, starved relationships, and high stress and negative impacts on my health. I recently heard a quote that you overestimate the things that you can accomplish in the short term at the expense of yourself and time and energy, and you underestimate the things that you can accomplish in the long run. This really punched me in the gut because we are all trying to fill our to-do list and fill our schedules to be busy because we feel like if we're not busy and we're not making progress on certain things, then we're not achieving whatever it is that we want in life. And this is not the way to live. Rather, we should make more time for fun and for nothing. Yes, you heard that right. Declutter your schedules and declutter your to-do lists from the things that are making very little impact in your life, on the things that you're trying to accomplish, and make more room to do nothing, to just be. And I feel like that's a undervalued principle of life, to just slow down and not do anything. And there are still ways to do this. Make time for the things that that fill you up, and you can still make progress on all the things that you are passionate about if you just prioritize the things that matter first, and then deprioritize the things that aren't making any difference in your life and just keeping you running on a hamster wheel. This is another big one. Declutter your influences. So we all spend a lot of time on social media, spend a lot of time online, spend a lot of time watching TV, and whether you want to accept it or not, all of these things influence us. They influence our thinking passively. We look at things on social media and compare ourselves to others. We think that others are living a much better life than we are, and we are always given the short end of the stick. Well, that kind of thinking doesn't serve us at all. So really taking a look at the influences that you have in your life and looking at them with a critical eye, and just ask yourself, does this make me happy when I watch this? Does this make me feel worthy or valuable after I, binge on this show? These are all things that we need to take a look at, and we need to make more space for influences that lift us up, whether that's a book or whether that is someone that we listen to, a podcast that every time we listen to them, we are excited, we're encouraged, and we're ready to make more growth in our lives and ready to better ourselves. Making room for those type of influences is so much more important and so critical and valuable to your overall human growth. So really declutter your influences. And declutter your stuff. Decluttering our homes and decluttering the spaces that we spend the most time in will actually make a huge impact on our lives. We underestimate how much our environment affects us. So maybe you have a really cluttered desk at work or where you choose to work at home, and you don't realize how that visual clutter and just the clutter around you brings a little bit more stress to your day. Or maybe your room is not as functional as you'd like it to be, or your kitchen is not as functionable as you'd like it to be, and it's full of stuff that you don't use. Decluttering these things that kind of weigh us down will give us more space for the things that bring us joy and bring us more happiness overall, and provide us a space that promotes clarity, some peace, and allows you to just kind of ease your mind and shut down a little bit. If you're tired of your life just kind of happening to you and rolling with the punches, then you really want to use these things that I've shared with you and declutter your life so that you can make 2021 the best year ever. One of our biggest problems is money. As you're watching this video on the left, you'll see how budgeting and really getting a handle over your money will give you less stress in your life. Stay minimal, friends. We will see you in the next video.